guys! So you may or may not know me, but I am Miss Gretchen, one of the Youth Services librarian here at the Westfield Athenaeum. I say here even though I am home because right now the library has to be wherever we are. Hopefully by now you've been able to go online and use our catalog to get a whole bunch of digital books and magazines and videos and see other places where you can get that kind of stuff since we haven't been open. But one of the things that I have been able to do is one of my most favorite things at the library. At the library, I run a writing group, ostensibly for kids in grades 6 through 12, and other than seeing your faces every day, it's one of my favorite things to do. So I've decided that I'm going to record some digital writing groups with some activities and some fun little classes so that you can participate at home. Now, these classes aren't meant to be, huge, crazy lessons, school, whatever. They're mostly meant for you to have fun and to hopefully pick up some tips and tricks along the way. I have a couple of degrees in writing and it's something that I love to do. So I'm going to share some things with you and hopefully you can take them and improve your writing and have fun. The first thing that I want to talk about was how to start a story, because sometimes starting is the hardest part. If you've already got a story started, don't worry, there'll be other videos for you. But sit back, relax, and see if this will help you get another story started too. One of the things I always tell my kids in class is to tell me what 3 things every story needs. Because those 3 things are not only important to every story, but they can also be 3 different places for you to start a story. This would normally be where I ask for audience participation, and there are probably some kids in my writing group shouting it back to me already, but since I can't do that, I'm just going to tell you what they are. So the 3 things every story needs are So this might seem really basic, but thinking about these elements individually can help you get started on a story. For example, you don't need all 3 of these things when you're starting a story. You can start a story thinking about the plot, the character, or the setting, and you'll find that the 2 other elements normally come naturally. For example, if you're thinking about a plot, so maybe you know some of the things that are going to happen. Once you start writing down that plot and what's going to happen, characters can start to emerge, or a place that it's starting to happen will emerge, and you can keep writing the story from there. Maybe all you have is a character and you know their name and maybe a few things about them. Maybe all you have is a name. Just write down the name. Say, my name is, name of your character, and just start describing them. Maybe you want to start with physical description. Maybe you want to start with some of their hobbies, their family, whatever it is that will get you started on who they are. And probably once you know what they like and don't like, what they're interested in, you'll start to see the story come from there. Setting is another really easy place to start. Maybe you have this great world that's in your head and you just want to write about this world. Write about what it looks like, what the buildings look like, what the food is like. And once you really settle into that world, think about rules. Every setting has a rule. Even in quarantine, we have rules. And those rules can start being maybe points of friction for a story. If you are looking for an endless amount of fun to get some stories started, I highly recommend Scholastic's Story Starters Generator. There are other story starter generators online, but this one I like because you can narrow it down by grade level, anywhere from K through 6. And you can choose your different kind of story, like if you'd like to write an adventure versus a fantasy. You can choose a whole bunch of stuff. When I did this lesson in class, I had the kids choose their own bracket and they each got a completely unique story, and it was a lot of giggles and a lot of fun. So if you're just looking for a quick and easy, give me a plot, a character, and a setting, this generator, also linked below, will just get you started immediately and you won't even have to think about it. If this is not what you're interested in, don't worry, I have other activities coming next. So this one's going to require a little bit of moving around. One of my favorite things to do is to steal, because as the saying goes, good artists borrow and great artists steal. Now, what you also might know is that people say when you're writing a story or a novel that the first line is the most important part of any story. So, putting those things together, here's what you're gonna do. I want you to pause the video, get up, and find at least 3 books around your house that you have not read. This is important. If you are going to be touching the things that belong to others, including siblings and parents, please ask permission first. Let's not start any more squabbles than we need to in these tight confined areas. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna grab 3 books that you haven't read, and we're gonna look and see what those first lines are. If you don't wanna get up and move around, don't worry, I'm gonna do this for you. So, hang on a second. Okay, I'm back. So, I found 3 books around my house that are mine, but I haven't read because I have a lot of books in my house that I haven't read, and maybe you do too. But anyway, here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna take one of those books. This is Before She Ignites by Jodi Meadows. And you're gonna turn to the first page. And you're gonna see what the first line is. And then you're gonna write that line down, if it's interesting. Sometimes people don't follow the rules and their first lines really aren't that interesting. I hunted down some interesting ones, so give me a minute. My second choice is Pippa Park Raises Her Game by Erin Yoon. And last but not least, I've chosen Uprooted by Naomi Novak. Alright, so we've got the first 3 lines of 3 separate books, and these 3 lines tell us a lot of stuff that we can use to start our own stories. I will say, again and again, if you decide to go about using this method and you ever decide to actually do anything with this story, you're gonna have to delete this line, because this line is not yours. The rest of the story will be yours. This line's not yours. However, it's an amazing exercise to get you started because, for example, the last day of my real life began with disaster from Jodi Meadows' book. You know how you're gonna write the story, so you know that it's in first person. And you know that there is a disaster coming that you need to write. The reason that I say it's best to use books that you haven't read is because if you have read this book, you know what disaster is coming, and that might kind of meddle with what you're going to be writing. But since I've not read this book yet, I don't know what the disaster is, and I'm more likely to let my imagination run wild. Again, I was the only person in the park from Pippa Park is, again, telling you you're going to write in the first person, and you know how this scene starts. You know where she is. She's in a park. What kind of a park? Well, that's up to you. But you know she's the only person there, and you know that's kind of spooky. Well, to me it's spooky. Might not be to you. I'm going to stop there. Lastly, our dragon doesn't eat the girls he takes. So this one doesn't give you a place, but it gives you another character, which is a dragon, and apparently this dragon doesn't eat girls, which is great. It's a better diet, honestly. But now you have to figure out, why doesn't this dragon eat the girls he takes? Especially if he's taking girls, why is he not eating them? All of these are great questions. So this is your job now to go out, find some books in your house, or if you don't feel like it, you can feel free to use one of these to get you started. So there are a couple of different ways you could get some stories started, get your imagination flowing. They're certainly not the only ones, but they're some of my favorites. So I hope you guys had fun. Go and create some amazing stories, and I'll see you soon.